Now, his opponent being Inns, another well-recognized, superb Quake player within the community, and it's no wonder that he got this far. Going up against Cypher is a big ask. However, Cypher going with already quite an interesting composition. Scalebearer first, and then Galena second. You did mention, we have seen Cypher go with Galena on Runes of Sarnath before. Actually, in fact, 125 FPS, as a matter of fact, was where we saw Galena on this map in particular, which was the team he used to win.
And Inns with the tried and true Ranger, Nyx, and Blazkowicz.
What a composition!
Wow, Cypher bringing in a mixture of... I think this is definitely the first time we've seen these champions together as a three, like straight up. I mean, Scalebearer we see a decent amount of, not a huge amount, but definitely a respectable amount. Galena, about the same-ish, you know, definitely got her place on certain maps we've seen. Slash, however, yeah. Cypher seems to really like this pick.
I think Cypher in particular just really likes picking Slash. I think it's quite rare that people are picking Slash. Obviously, we did just see Hell earlier in this tournament, you know, the Quake 4 player himself picking Slash, which kind of, you know, makes sense at the end of the day. But
you could say that.
Seeing Cypher pick Slash as well, it just means that these players have confidence in the entire roster of champions. And I feel
which
like
has already shown to be really important, because how many times have people like had one roster and it hasn't quite worked out, and then they've completely changed it and then won because of it?
At one point when we saw Agent, it kind of really seemed like Agent's like Clutch and the way he played Clutch just did a really good job of basically dealing with all champions he faced off against, be it Blazkowicz and Nyx. He pretty much was a one-size-fits-all answer to both of those champions. However, Cypher with Slash first. Here we go. Inns versus Cypher. This is the final match tonight to determine who's going to make it into the regionals for EU from week 1.
This is obviously one of the biggest things about Slash, is that crouch slide, being able to maintain speed, and just zipping around all over the place. Already taking a rail, but
obviously using that ability to just massively increase his speed. Unfortunately hits the left-hand side of the teleporter, so he is going to lose his burst of speed. But one thing that Slash can do a really good job of with that crouch slide is basically maintain the speed and momentum she's gathered from her strafe jumping and continue it while sliding across the ground. So it's a really amazing way of basically staying unbelievably mobile, by far one of the most mobile champions in the game, but keeping your speed while you make those tight corners.
And that speed boost and area denial that we see from the ability on just a 30-second cooldown can be quite important, but in starting off with this Ranger, so quite an obscure matchup, I think, to start with. I haven't really seen much of this today.
Not being headed off. We're seeing quite a slow start for now, which does make a lot of sense. Bear in mind, when you've cancelled the ability that gives you the boost, you leave the explosive trail behind. So even though you're going to give yourself a little speed boost to safely take items, if someone is going to chase you, it's risky and sometimes not possible.
We see him on the top, catches the rail. Cypher's rails have been on point historically.
Catches it again, this time taking no damage. Bear in mind, Slash, I mentioned this earlier, but even though she is quite a small champion, maybe looks like almost like a Nyx type, 100 health and 50 armor. She's a lot more tanky than some of the smaller champions.
Oh, it was going in for the kill, misses the rail, misses the second one. Oh, but lands that one, 90 damage on the board.
That one's going to at least put the pressure on. Now Inns has to answer back. Oh, misses the rail again. Seeing some very sort of like uncharacteristic misses coming out from Cypher this time.
I think Inns is playing well though, he's dodging well at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Being quite unpredictable in where he's going.
Here comes Cypher, the pain train. Misses the trail. Oh, not quite! The Dire Orb frags him through, wow. I was actually expecting the trail to go all the way through there, but didn't quite get it.
Oh, not quite sure what's going on right now. Inns standing in spot, but Cypher definitely playing. I mean, that first sort of exchange between the two of them. I mean, Slash's mobility by itself is absolutely insane.
Just quickly finding out what's going on here. Inns stopping in his tracks. Maybe have had a keyboard malfunction. Something could have gone wrong. Who knows? I'm sure we'll find out soon. But that first frag on Cypher, where he tried to sort of go in and almost head off Inns in the front with the
I think
ability.
Cypher definitely could have taken that frag. He just missed a couple of rockets, unfortunately. But that's just the way it goes, right? You know, if you go in for that kill, if you go all in, we can definitely see that sometimes. That, you know, I mean, how often do we see a Nyx player, right, go for that ghost mode, go in with a rocket launcher point blank. And that's basically what Cypher did, only it wasn't ghost mode, it was that sort of enhanced boost.
They just came
missed
down,
a couple of them.
It came down to a couple of misses at the end of the day, not just the rockets, but the rails. Cypher, uncharacteristically, as I've said, missing quite a few rails in this one spawn in particular. I feel like, if you're going to miss rails like that, it kind of really just gives your opponent that edge, that almost like that free life that otherwise would have gone down and given you a great advantage. But In's obviously doing a really good job of sort of establishing his distance as well. And I think when both players have their first champion, that's definitely where we see the highest amount of just passiveness and players just playing a little bit more carefully. No one wants to overextend and give up that champion, because the thing you give up that champion advantage, you are kind of like, you're now the one that needs to make something happen, because the enemy doesn't need to come to you if they've got the timer on their side. But I feel like the timer in Duel is so important in champions specifically because of that champion limit, where if you've got more champions than they do, you'll win by timeout. Now, that really does almost force a pace out of certain players. If it's, if it's not going in their favor, they've got to make something happen.
So let's talk a little bit about the champion composition that Cypher brought onto the table.
It's definitely unique.
So Scalebearer, Galena, and Slash, that is a trio that we just do not see together, straight up. And right now, I mean, I don't want to say it hasn't worked out. Cypher obviously lost that first frag, but it was still the first life in, an entire series of 2 out of 3. But currently was doing well with it. It basically just came down to sort of universal mechanics there, missing a couple of shots, missing a couple of rails, missing a couple of rockets. But at the same time, putting Galena on a team like that, putting Scalebearer on a team like that, do you think he's just kind of going for the unfamiliarity?
Well, he actually saved, funny enough, he went Scalebearer after he respawned, which means that he's also saving Galena for last, which we've very rarely seen Galena picked anyway. Let alone seeing Galena picked as that third champion. That's what I find even more peculiar. We just don't see that at all. But then again, someone like Cypher, when you are considered to be a really sort of top player, I think a lot of these guys tend to sort of innovate certain things, and they sort of come up with their own ideas and their own strategies, which in a competitive setting may work and may not work. When you have ideas of compositions of champions you want to use and things that you want to try and execute, the only way to get that experience to see whether your ideas are working is in this competitive environment when you're surrounded by other players that are all superb, of like the highest skill level.
Well, didn't they? The only way to tell if some strategy is going to work in a tournament setting to use it in a tournament setting, and maybe that's what Cypher's going for this time. We've already seen, when he won that 125 FPS week 1, that was, through Galena, and Galena was on his team and he was doing that really well. I haven't really seen him play Scalebearer much personally. Slash is one we've personally seen him play a few times now, competitively and sort of casually, which is always really exciting to watch. But at the same time, In's running with a very more traditional composition of BJ Blazkowicz, Nyx, and Ranger together. And Ranger first as well. Normally in this sort of competition we see Nyx thrown straight away as first, but this time he goes Ranger instead. What do you think the Ranger pick first was for? Well,
I think all of those champions can work well as a first pick anyway. I think Nyx going first generally seems to be considered almost like a safer bet, because she can do the same amount of damage as everyone else. She's hard to hit, she's fast, she's got the survivability, but at the same time, Ranger going first I think is just as much of a good call, because at the end of the day, Cypher was always going to pick a champion that navigates fastest. So even though he picked Slash last, it was kind of obvious he was going to use her first in the match, because when you start off, if you've got a champion like that, when you see a lot of people play, they want that speed, they want that agility, and they want the ability to get around the map really quickly and maybe secure some early frags, especially seeing as Cypher in particular is an aggressive player. We saw it on Thursday when he was just rushing round after round. But in that match, he was picking Blazkowicz first, actually. But I feel like Ranger might have just been an answer to the fact that on Ruins of Sarnath, Ranger does a good job of basically going anywhere he wants to go. The Dire Orb covers so much distance, on top of the fact that you can go from heavy armor all the way up top near where just above the rail spawn, which some characters can't do without a rocket jump or something. So, I don't know, I feel like it might have just been a way to sort of answer the agility that Slash brings to the table.
So apparently we are doing a full restart of the match. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I assume there was some kind of issue here and there. But
it happens, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, game closed beta, these things happen sometimes. So we're going to be doing a full restart of the match itself. So we'll be getting that into underway as soon as we can. We don't want to be having too much downtime here. I mean, this is the last one, right? This is the last duel before we start Sacrifice. So there is one more person today that is guaranteed to spot through.
8 players qualifying for regionals already. This has been a fast turnaround. Qualification on Thursday. We had Sacrifice yesterday, and obviously Sacrifice will resume after this duel, which is going to happen later on in the day. And the duel matches have just gone all the way through. We've already got 7 players qualified already. it's kind of crazy how quickly we're getting around to deciding who's actually going to be a Quake.
It's also been a lot of 2-0s as well. Like the only 2-1 we had today was Zron versus Toxic, which is probably the closest and I would say best series we've had today. But just going for a straight restart. I assume they'll be picking the exact same characters, most likely.
Yep,
Looks like
Cypher going in for Scale Bearer, Galena, Nyx, Ranger, and Slash. Cypher's Slash looks kind of interesting as well. I've actually not seen a Slash customized like that before.
No, not yet. It's because we don't really get to see any Slash players.
Low key, the customization in this game is superb. Really good.
It is. I mean, if you like a specific color, you can just make the whole team that color.
That's what I like about Duel, actually, is the fact that you can make all 3 of your champions the same shader, and it's like, it's a team of, it just looks cool. I think it looks really good.
Like a team of champions. Or even if you're in Sacrifice and the 4 of you like synchronized. And you've all like coordinated the wardrobe.
That's that next level clan stuff. That's what people used to do back in the Doom days. People had like a clan when they used to play Doom and they'd have the exact same colors, the same armor. There'd be like 6 dudes that all look exactly the same. It's pretty cool, to be fair, but Quake having elements of customization is pretty neat as well. Let you put your own personal stamp on a champion, I think.
I mean, I still like, I'll get that 9,000 and I'll just buy backpacks. And I'll just hope for the best.
That's what I do, but my luck is terrible. Either way, we're getting this match up and running. They're currently in their warm-up. Thank you very much for being patient, guys. Apologies for the pull-out of the server, but we are back in there, and we're going for a full restart. So it's Cypher versus Inns, Slash versus what is likely going to be Ranger.
Future Slash.
From the future. Here we go. Actually, no, Inns, actually, because of the full restart, he's gone for Nyx first. So here we go. Let's see if Cypher actually,
he's waiting on the respawn time on this armor, I should expect.
Yeah, bear in mind, Cypher actually lost that that first frag to Inns in the previous match. I don't think Cypher knows he's down there. Inns doing a good job of staying hidden away.
That sort of speed already starting to add up. Normally when you see players sort of just sitting there listening, you know, or sort of sitting there doing nothing, they're usually just listening for sounds, trying to figure out where the opponents are based on what they're picking up.
Oh, here comes Cypher going in, being aggressive, going in for the rush. But it's not enough. Misses the rockets again. Shades of what we saw before the restart where he used the agility aggressively, or the plasma trail, I should say. And it just didn't work out. Going in with the rush, but the reactions!
Ooh. That Ghost Walk making that bull rush completely nullified. Cypher got aggressive, wasn't quite able to make it work though. That was starting to top him help up.
That's a really, really good reaction actually when he saw the bull rush. Misses the rail. See, Cypher's going to establish those rockets, make it really hard to stop from taking that mega. Now Cypher. Ooh, nice, good rail. Inns playing really well.
No.
Oh no! Gets one of the rails, but misses the crucial one that was do or die.
Wait, Cypher had 1 HP. He survived barely again.
Oh dear. Well, that's a very fortunate situation for Cypher, that's for sure.
Oh, he knows she's up there, trying to heal up. Quite low though, taking a lot of damage.
Obviously, Inns. I mean, when you get that kind of rail advantage, and like all you need is one more. The patience, really trying to predict where the opponent's basically going to try and run away. You've got to be on point. In 3 seconds, that heavy armor's going to spawn. No doubt, both these players would have been timing that. Ooh, really nice rocket. Inns ready. Bear in mind, he's got the bull rush. And just take the armor.
Just trying to secure the armor. That's we actually see the bull rush used more for that, just like almost like safely securing power-ups than actually used for like aggressive purposes.
Well, by far the greatest piece of utility comes from the damage reduction, but Inns with that dual wield, and bear in mind, Scale Bearer did not have much health left, and now Cypher down to his final Galena pick.
He is indeed running this Galena last, Crystal 4. Definitely seen him have success with Galena on this map before though, so we're definitely not going to count him out, but a little bit of a comeback to make versus Ranger and Blazkowicz.
Oh, nice!
If he does tag that rail, he can get a few more of those.
Very easy, I think, for it's almost like a free sort of like 50 health pickup, those 25s, if you can catch it right as your passive triggers.
Oh, he misses the rail. He's trying to get a little bit of lightning gun instead. Just picking up the mega health though. Heavy armor goes to the way of Inns instead, so trading out these power-ups again.
Now, look at the fact that Inns definitely hasn't got as much HP as Cypher, but on the flip side, he's got basically double the armor. But Inns again, Inns has been quite a sort of very passive player right here. He's basically getting his rail, fortifying himself up to a certain location he wants to really stick at, and he just plays really patiently.
So Inns keep controlling the...
Oh, he almost ran into the totem.
Oh, there's the dual wield. I don't know if Cypher can get away from this. Oh no! Cypher dares him to follow him with a rocket, and that's going to do it.
Chased a little bit too hard, I think, but he's got a good spawn. Actually caught the teleporter. Can he survive? Going in for the gauntlet kill. Doesn't get it, but the juke doesn't work out. Cypher with the Galena comeback.
Wow, and that wasn't even utilizing the totems. That was just, he was just aiming better in those situations, those quick snaps to the rails. You know, if he missed that rail, that would have been curtains, but the confidence in the play of players like this that have been playing for so long, they just know when they're going to hit.
It is very easy to underestimate just how long you have to wait when you miss a rail. And if you miss in those situations, it's over. But Cypher staying composed, like really clutch execution.
Once again, that slash ability coming through, just quickly getting him, safely getting him a rail. Only a 30-second cooldown, we'll have it quite soon. I mean, fight's breaking out already.
It does allow her to go really fast. However, he's going to have to get that health, but it's not enough to take a rail, of which Inns uses the wall jump to go over the archway, and it completely tricks Cypher into not knowing where he's going.
Once again, though, losing the slash relatively early to this Nyx. This is what we saw happen last time.
I feel like it's a matter of when Slash tries to escape, she's still subject to getting hit, whereas when Nyx tries to escape, she's pretty much invincible. But in that matchup in particular, it kind of really feels like Nyx might have somewhat of an edge. We'll have to wait and see as time develops, but right now, Inns, at the very least, just looks comfortable when he fights against Slash.
Oh, here we go. There's that fight starting off over the heavy armor. Cypher charges a little bit too early, but still able to guarantee it.
He's definitely got a lot more health and armor than Inns, regardless. Oh, doesn't quite hit him with the rail before he picks up the mega health. They're going to meet down there.
Oh no, Inns turned away just before Cypher went down.
If only he stayed there for like half a second longer, definitely would have clocked Cypher there. Cypher, no doubt, has actually seen Inns already. The offensive Ghost
the
Walk.
fight begins with this. Ghost Walk used a little bit too early.
I'm not sure if he's misjudged the timing on that mega health, but either way, the charge missing does mean that Cypher's going to be able to sort of establish a bit of pressure, but at the same time, Inns sitting there and defending the mega health. I don't know whether he knows it's up yet or whether he's just waiting for it, going in for the kill instead.
Cypher unfortunately gets tagged by that. Inns doing really well this round so far. This next play being super impressive with Galena once again. Left to do a comeback by herself. Totem doesn't quite kill her.
Oh, that rocket did so much damage. Cypher, he's on the back foot 100% at the moment. Got a lot of work to do in this round to make the comeback, but I mean, he made somewhat of a comeback before, but it definitely was not this extreme.
Oh,
misses the rail. That could be a huge mistake. Oh, nice catch. Inns with that one character victory, and that's going to be 1-1.
Well played, though, I think there. Just sort of, if anything, it was just accuracy. Those rails he was hitting were crucial, and he was nailing all the ones he needed to. And Cypher,
it's kind of like what Cypher did in round 1, right? Inns pretty much did the same thing back, landing all the crucial rails he needed to land. Cypher, though, this time he's actually started with Scale Bearer. Oh, he's being really aggressive. He doesn't care, going in for the charge. Now he's trying to predict where he's running. Predicts the jump pad, but it's not correct. Wait a minute, he is. He just goes for the teleporter instead. Cypher with a clean takedown.
That's the kind of aggression we're used to seeing from Cypher, though. Respawning, knowing he has that health advantage, knowing that Inns is going to start with Nyx, and just even with the start machine gun, I should say, just goes straight in for the kill.
Now, I think, to be honest, a player as aggressive as Cypher, if you spawn near him and he's playing as someone like Scale Bearer with all that health, that's scary. That is a scary thing to deal with.
But he seeked Inns out straight away, like no hesitation.
I think part of it might be, you know, obviously understanding where the respawn locations are, listening out for where the opponent may appear, and then basically just rushing them accordingly.
Oh, Blazkowicz is down. He's missing 2 rails. That's unfortunate.
Going in for the lightning gun. Can he get enough of a trail going in for the dual wield? Hang on a minute. Forced to use it. Cypher, not a lot of health left. Can he hold long enough? 3 seconds.
No, Inns isn't close enough. That's going to be guaranteed mega health.
Bear in mind, it's not going to put him up to full, but it's going to give him a nice amount of health anyway. But at this stage, Cypher can afford to be defensive again. Once again, he has got that champion advantage. 3 versus 2. Yeah, both players just listening out. Cypher staying super patient, weighing out this heavy armor, and now very heavily stacked up. If he fights Inns at this point, he's going to have a huge advantage.
Here's that sort of patience, though. Cypher does have the champion lead, only approaching 2 minutes into this next round, so he does have a bit of an advantage here, but at the same time, plenty of time left to go. Preemptive bull rush. Trophy was expecting to catch someone or was just going for the health.
Sometimes it's just, I think, a safe advance, isn't it? Relocate from one point to another. Always caught from behind. He hasn't seen it going in for the dual wield. Has got the heavy armor. Who's going to survive the...
Wow.
Again, Cypher. He had so much health, and his accuracy was so on point that even though Inns had the dual wield, it still didn't matter. He's collected the mega health, though, does manage to get a frag. Inns does take out Scalebearer, but Cypher with still 2 champions left, and it's Galena looking to try and win the match.
Yeah, Glen's going to be the next pick, though. Inns managed to get himself back up to full health, which is important, but this is going to be... Well, he's going to have to kill all 3 champions with just Ranger. Oh, there we go, hit the rail, but
they've traded. Yeah, they've traded rails, and at the same time, Cypher collects the heavy armor as well. How is Cypher going to chase this, though? Or is he looking to just relocate? Gets rid of the totem. Obviously, that's going to be a good message to Cypher, knowing that the totem's been taken out. Oh, stops him right before he gets the mega health, but he's able to tank a couple more rails. Cypher, though, still with all of that armor left to play with. He's going for the chase.
Chasing him down. Oh, he was not expecting him around the corner, but there's a direct, but Cypher is able to take that totem and get the kill anyway.
I mean, it's a level of, like, aggressiveness when Cypher plays that you don't really see, is that he went around the corner, but it wasn't a matter of he heard the rocket, he heard those footsteps. It's not like he sort of took a step back. He almost just went just as far. Point blank, he fought a Ranger with a rocket launcher point blank, knowing the risk, but it was a calculated risk, confident he could take the health before he went down. And Cypher now with 2 rounds and a heavy armor as Scalebearer once again. Dangerous stack.
Cypher starting off the Scalebearer a second time, though.
Oh! I mean, that may as well have just been a kill for Cypher. He got all the damage he needed. The suicide on the rocket launcher really wasn't much in
that situation, like, you don't want to kill them, you just need them to die. Like, ultimately, that's all it comes down to, so suicide isn't going to bother Cypher at all.
Actually, Inns popping the dual wield just to keep Cypher at bay, keeping him away from that heavy armor so he can safely take it. But at the same time, they've basically just traded Mega for heavy.
Oh, Cypher back another rail. Oh, hitting that second one. Oh, wow, that looked like it was going to hit.
Kind of looked like it went. Oh, the teleporter to chase down, knowing exactly where he was going to go. He was going to be stuck mid-air, using the teleporter to meet him in the middle. Inns is in big trouble now. Bear in mind, 90 HP, he can tank a rail as long as it's not charged, but it doesn't even matter. And Cypher does take that first game. To be honest, though, even though the team was obviously Galena, Scalebearer, and Slash, we didn't really see Slash do a whole lot again in the match.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, there must be a reason that players are picking it. It's just not. Well, it's just not really working out as a character.
It's just movement methods, right? Like, clearly it's a movement form that Cypher really likes using. I think he's actually said in the past that he likes Slash's movement a lot. So comfort is a huge thing. And if you like a character's movement, you're just going to have more fun playing them. You're going to be a lot more comfortable. You know, so it's almost just a bit like a bit more free when it comes to execution.
I think the real question on this case is Cypher going to run Slash again, or is he going to swap it out? Because I don't know. He did quite a lot of work with the Galena. Scalebearer, absolutely. Slash was the only champion on his team that didn't really get the chance to do much.
But on the flip side, it's because part of that is also because he chose not to use Slash for the last 2 rounds, of which he didn't need her. So there's also that to factor in, is that I'm sure that Cypher has like some strats and just general reasons for why he's using Slash as much as he is, but at the same time, in those two last rounds, he didn't even need to show it. You know, I think that's also a factor, is that his Scalebearer and Galena did such a good job by themselves. There was no need to go to that extra trump card, which in this case is Slash.
But we've talked a bunch about Cypher already, but Inns particularly is running that very standard, tried and true composition of a composition, I should say, of BJ, Nyx, and Ranger. Blood Covenant will be the map. That will be Inns' choice. But do you think we're going to see the same comp from him? Because he definitely wasn't playing badly. I think a big part of it just came down to rails. That seems like a consistent thing to say, but it does remain true. And Visor coming out from Cypher.
Yeah, complete change of pace. Now Inns going in with Blackovitz, Ranger, and Nyx as always, but I think it's going in for Visor on Blood Covenant also. I think it's map dependent.
Ranger, Visor, and the Scalebearer is the one that he's holding on to. So
I feel like it's really heavily map dependent when these guys pick their champions. Blood Covenant in particular, I said this way earlier on the stream, but I feel like Visor is a really good pick on Blood Covenant because there are so many variables as to where an opponent can be. If you're dueling on Blood Covenant and you've gone in with the Visor, it's not really an aggressive tool, even though it definitely can be. It's the fact that it definitely helps Visor essentially plan his next course of action much more safer. So you can go, right, now I need to know where the opponent is. Now you can see them. You can decide what the safe pickups are that you can take basically completely uncontested, ready for when you inevitably find a fight later on.
Oh, whether we'll see that put to use, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Visor I've already seen do quite a lot of work, especially yesterday in Sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
But I like how he seems a bit like Galena in the sense that the utility does change quite a bit depending on what mode you're in. Like obviously Sacrifice being able to say to your whole team where they are, but 1v1 just being complete, like tracking down, absolutely nowhere to hide.
So here we go, Cypher versus Ins, potentially our last duel of this evening if it turns into a 2-0 victory for Cypher. Ins has opted to go for Blood Covenant as he lost the last map. He was now having the freedom to choose what map he wanted to play on. He's been clocked quite early by Ins. He's now trying to chase him down with that rocket. Cypher heavily stacked up.
Picking himself up the LG though, and there's the tracking not to let him get away.
The piercing sight doing the job it was designed to do. See everything, including a Nyx that is invisible.
That must be why Cypher went to go for this Visor first. They must have predicted that Ins was going to start with Nyx. And
very intelligent.
Paid off.
I mean, Nyx is heavily popular, especially on a map like Blood Covenant, where she has not only the survivability, but on Blood Covenant, what a rocket! Wow, I mean, that just made me stop my sentence. But either way, she has a lot of utility on this map. However, Visor, that piercing sight, in these situations as a direct counter, Ins again gets taken down by Cypher, and that was one of our fastest rounds of the day.
So, Rise, you can say that you think Visor's particularly good in this map. We just saw Visor by himself in the hands of Cypher take a single round without being even remotely scathed. Do you think we're going to see, I mean, this almost like calls out Ins to like, does he start with Nyx again?
He does.
Cypher went for Scale Bearer. Maybe Cypher expected Ins to change it up.
I mean, that's always a next level read, right? Where maybe because Nyx truly, really didn't do anything in that match, because Cypher just caught Ins in a bad spot, tried to go in for the evade, and the piercing sight tracked it down. Maybe Cypher did expect Ins to change champion.
He's gone underground though. Cypher's making the read, he's going towards the armor. He is correct, but Ins, not being too obvious, backs up.
I think one thing that really sets Cypher apart, though, which I've seen so far with this gameplay, I think is just kind of, he just knows when to go in for a fight. His game sense of when to attack and when to press the advantage, it seems to be on point almost every time. Obviously, Ins.
Sitting in the middle, actually, just trying to heal up as much as possible.
Yep.
Usually quite risky, but I guess you just normally want to sort of minimize your time in the middle. Ins was unlikely to see him.
Because it's not even like Ins right now is playing bad at all.
The Ghost Walk is popped.
He's got the traditional composition. Is he following? Wow, his read was on point. He just knew how to follow Ins right there. Obviously, I think that Cypher going with Scale Bearer first, in some ways, has kind of helped Ins get started, because he's not going to have that Visor, which was such a problem in round one. He's trying to chase it down. He just knows how much rails he can take. He is not scared at all. No fear in this gameplay. However, now
one more rail is going to do it. Ins landing about 4 or 5 rails in a row there. Was going to do enough. Cypher calls it out, but goes straight in for the Visor pick.
Tracks him down. An amazing start. Ins manages to track the spawn down once again. Cypher on the verge of actually the exact same thing happening to him instead. That 3 champions just down immediately.
Excellent adjustment though by Ins here. Despite that first round being so one-sided, he is able to keep it together, and this Nyx is now doing all the work it needs to do.
Very important as well that he was able to get Ranger on a good spawn. Oh! That was just a clay pigeon, that was.
Unfortunate to launch himself in the air there, but unfortunately accidents do happen, I suppose. Cypher now throwing a bit of a lifeline though, he's able to take that frag, Ranger versus Ranger, and after that, Blazkowicz to go.
And I suppose Cypher is in a situation where he gets a good read. Has to be a good rocket. His rockets have been on point. However, the Dyrov comes through. Can he get the last-minute rail? And Ins again has lost 2 champions, but actually a little bit faster than Cypher lost. On the verge of making a 3
and he caught
straight.
Him on spawn. All he has is a lightning gun. Cypher Reed is going to go for the rocket launcher.
This is Blazkowicz with a lightning gun. One of the most dangerous champions in the game with that weapon when he dual wields, of which he's going to do it right now. Cypher fighting back, being very aggressive, and he gets Ins and a comeback to steal it away. Match point for Cypher.
It's unfortunate that that comeback started off Inns accidentally launching himself into the air as well, the rocket jump. I mean, one single mistake like that was unfortunately the start of that entire sequence, and Cypher runs away with it, brings himself to match point to winning this set and being our final qualifier for the EU Regionals.
I feel like Cypher has expected Inns to go back to Nyx, which is why he's now started with Visor. That direct answer to the Ghost mode is clearly a very strong tool when Cypher's behind the wheel. And obviously expecting a Nyx pick, that's pretty much why we've seen this champion choice. Nice patience though catching him, but Cypher survives.
Amazing reactions from Inns there, seeing as soon as he heard that thing from Cypher to go up the jump pad, he's ready and waiting. He takes that first frag. Now this is important. Visor is off the table.
Yep, absolutely. Very important that he dealt with that champion when he did, otherwise Visor's been causing a lot of problems throughout this match.
Oh, misses the shot on Cypher. This is the second one. Cypher's trying to get this heavy armor, does manage to confirm it.
Going in for the charge, not using it aggressively though, using it to escape. No, on the last minute, doubles back. And if only he connected that charge actually, it was actually before Inns reacted. Cypher's still on the chase, he's confident. He is still confident, he's got so much, but that mid-air into a rail. Lovely combo from Inns, and Cypher again is down to his last champion.
Now, we can't call this out, though. This is the exact same situation. Cypher was in last round, and he was able to make the comeback anyway. But now his Inn's going to be a bit more careful, and less likely to let that happen.
Well, it started off what seemed like it could have been a mistake, right? That's how Cypher's comeback last time seemed to start off. Now, if Inns simply just doesn't make that mistake, he's not going to be in that situation. Let's see. Oh, they mean the air. They don't quite trade the rail. That time, Nyx on 13. Cypher misses the shot because of a reaction. Visibility. Nice assassination. Cypher, though, with a lot of health. Not after the rail, but the lightning gun does deal with it. Now, he's quite weak. He is not stacked at all. Is it enough?
Does have the rail, though. Oh my lord, just is Cypher going to do it again? 2 rounds back to back.
Is he going to do it? Not like this, surely. That was a fantastic spawn, right in his line of sight.
Oh, and he got that snap rail.
Not like this. Not like this, Cypher. Inns desperately has to try and survive. What an answer. I mean, that's it. That is game over.
And I mean, we say it over and over and over again, but rails, accuracy, I mean, how many did Cypher miss in that last round?
Not many. And the ones that landed were unbelievable. I mean, the final, like, 4, the ones that really set him apart.
That was the crucial point to letting that comeback happen, was just sheer accuracy with the railgun. And just a ridiculous amount of damage coming through over and over and over again. And Cypher making a 1-champion comeback, 2 rounds back to back.
I mean, we felt like maybe after that second round, perhaps it was more of like a, well, okay, Inns kind of did make that sort of error where he kind of knocked himself into the air and kind of allowed Cypher to get that free rail because he couldn't really control his air mobility. But in that final round, we'd have gone, well, he's in the same situation, but this time around, Inns isn't really going to sort of make that misplay. It just came down to the fact that Cypher, the confidence in his decisions, it was unbelievably disgusting. Obviously, you know, huge shouts to Inns for getting this far in the tournament. Unfortunately, he's been eliminated from week 1, but I have no doubt at all we will see him again in week 2 onwards, because there are 3 more qualifiers after this one. But Cypher is your 8th qualified player who will be at the EU Regionals and is now 1 step closer to the Quake World Championship Finals at QuakeCon.
So let's reflect a bit on some of the results we've seen today. So number 1, Toxic versus Zron. Zron was able to win that 2-1. Noctis versus Luminous. Noctis took 2-0. Neutrino versus Strengths. Neutrino took 2-0. Rel versus Agent. Agent won 2-0. Zoot versus Vu. Vu won 2-0. Hell versus Cooler. Cooler was able to take 2-0. Richt versus Claws. Claws won 2-0. And as we just saw, finished off with Inns versus Cypher, as Cypher took that 2-0 as well.